Welcome to Empower Her Radio, the space for powerhouse women ready to step into their next level of abundance, purpose, and personal freedom. I'm Dr. Corey Winn, a high performance coach, doctor of physical therapy, philanthropist, and business consultant. I help ambitious women align with their highest calling, expand their wealth and impact, and create a life that feels as good as it looks. If you're a high achieving woman who's built success yet finds yourself craving more alignment, more purpose, more ease, you're in the right place. Here, we bridge the gap between ambition and fulfillment. Through transformative conversations and proven strategies, you'll gain the courage to step into the fullest expression of you. Build a powerhouse business that aligns with your expertise and divine gifts, and lead your life, both personally and professionally, with unshakable confidence, worthiness, and compassion. This is about expansion, legacy, and owning your power unapologetically. You already have everything inside of you to create a life of unlimited possibility. It's time to unlock it. Welcome to your next level. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Empower Her Radio, where we celebrate the bold, the brave, and the women who refuse to settle for anything less than a life on purpose. Today's guest is someone who embodies all of that and so much more. Joanna Blair is an internationally exhibited fine artist, a master of reinvention, and a living, breathing example of what happens when you trust your intuition and leap, especially when the world tells you not to. So if you've ever wondered whether it's too late to start over or whether you're really good enough to pursue that dream, you'll want to listen to every single word. Joanna, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Corey. Total pleasure to be here.
So let's start at the beginning. Tell us your story and how you ended up as an internationally exhibited artist.
Well, it goes way back actually. I knew I wanted to paint when I was 5. I can actually remember the exact moment. I was coming up off the beach with Dad, and we were going back to our accommodation, and there was a man, and he was teaching 2 girls a lot older than me. They were about 12. And he was teaching them how to paint a sunset. And I just remember being so beguiled by that. And I remember thinking, oh, I so want to do that, and getting dragged off by Dad, leave the poor man alone. Um, so it kind of went from there. And of course, all kids love art, I guess. And I don't think my parents really took much notice of it. And by 12, I remember I applied to an art school and got in until they found out that I was only 12. And then that was the end of that.
Oh gosh.
And then from there, I sort of went in and out of painting. I think when you're a teenager, other things take priority, parties and all of that stuff, and boys and what have you. And I sort of, everyone's sort of like, yes, yes, art is good, but you really need to get a job. You really need to get a qualification. So we started to convolute after that. Went into nursing and kind of didn't paint for a little while, then got back into it again in my mid-20s, and still really thought that being successful as an artist was never going to happen. The starving artist is really what you kind of get told. But by
Mhm.
then I'd had enough of nursing, and was just really looking for an avenue of how I could use, be creative and earn an income out of it. And so from there, took another turn, went into becoming a makeup artist. It struck me, I thought, oh, I'll become a makeup artist. So went and did that. And then in my early 20s, there was a trip that I'd seen in a magazine that you could go to Europe and you could do these painting trips, little tours and things like that. So in my 30s, I thought, right, I'm gonna do this trip. You know how time just goes so fast and you never
Oh
do it.
yeah.
And I thought, right, I'm just gonna do it. So off I went to Tuscany and was painting around there. And when I got home, I had an email from London. I don't even know how it happened, Corey. I thought it was spam. I nearly deleted the email. then when I looked at it properly, they're saying to me, "Oh, we're interested in your artwork. Send us some paintings. We want 5 paintings." And they were considering me for the Biennale. And so a big leap of faith. And it's so funny because I did 4 paintings, and the fifth one I was massively struggling with. And this painting was just awful in my eyes. And I was thinking, do I just send the 4 because they're strong paintings and don't worry? And then I thought, no, just sign it, it'll be all right. And sure enough, the fifth painting is the one they selected, and one other one. So
Oh,
off it went from there. So once I was in the Biennale, it just next thing I was in Tokyo and Dubai and New York, and yeah, it just went crazy from there.
isn't it interesting how what we might look at as something that isn't good enough or isn't quite what we wanted it to be speaks to so many other people in such a genuine, beautiful way?
Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. I found that more than once actually, where something that I've thought, oh, I don't know, and someone else will think, oh, I love that. Or I've been at exhibitions just as an attendee, not exhibiting, and something that I think is really beautiful, someone else I can hear behind me like, oh, I don't like that, or whatever. And I think, oh, really? It's so subjective. But yeah, you're so right.
Well, in art, my father worked full time until he was 70, but always had art as his hobby and charcoal dust painting and acrylics and all sorts of things. And growing up, we went to every art museum and every art exhibit and went to Europe and went to all the art museums. And I don't have a lick of art talent outside of dance, but my daughter does. And everybody in every walk of life, I feel like can come together over art. Not that we all like the same things, like you said, but it shows history, it shows life, it's an outlet for emotion. So when you think of how your art has empowered you and kind of what helped you take that leap, what can you tell our audience about that?
Yes, it's for me it's always been something within me. Yeah, and it sort of rises up of its own volition at times, and you just feel really compelled. And what's surprising to me too, I've heard other people talk about this, other artists, where things come out on the canvas that you are sort of subconscious, you didn't really realize were there. Um, Last year, I got diagnosed with breast cancer, which was a real bolt out of the blue. I really didn't expect it. And it was funny because the series that I was working on and had been working on for months was called The Boldness of Resilience. And when that happened, when that diagnosis came through, I just thought, wow, I must have really known something subconsciously to be working on all of, that whole resilience thing. And it's going to be all right. You'll get through this sort of situation with my paintings. And then that happened. And yeah, it's funny how much art sort of speaks through, I think. Yeah, definitely.
You talk a lot about kind of having the courage to make that pivot. Once you submitted those first 5 paintings, was it easy after that? Were you everywhere? I mean, you said New York, Dubai, London. Did it happen that easily, or were you still, like many of us, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I've made it yet.
Oh, 100%. I think that's always with you. Even when you are at exhibition, will these sell? It's a it really is a roller coaster ride. And even while I'm painting, it's a roller coaster ride because you think, it's the painting to me is going along fine, and then all of a sudden I think, oh no, this isn't working, I don't like it, and the strong feeling to stop and start something else. But yeah, I have to resist that. And yeah, even though I was getting accepted to all these exhibitions, there is that thing of, yeah, will you actually sell? It's one thing to be accepted and for you to want to be there, to have you there, but if nothing's selling,
Mhm.
that's like, oh God. And yeah, it's I always find that never goes away. Every release I do, I always have this, oh God, will anyone like these? Will anyone want these? You know? But yeah, no, I think the biggest thing is to just not give up and to just trust and that it's not just a linear line to straight up to the right. It's you are going to have the ups and downs and I think that is where the resilience and the trust is. Just go with it and just try not to overthink things as well. Easier said than done.
Yes. Well, and I think that's where so many of us give up or stop is is that place of fear. And I know I've been there so many times and it's like, well, if I do this and I fail, what will people think? So I'm going to stop right here because I'm not failing in this moment. And I think so much of our audience has had those moments or are in those moments right now. And I love what you said, just keep going. There's art for everyone. Someone out there is going to buy it. Um, and taking that leap of faith every day is really incredible.
Yeah, I agree with you, Corinne. And I think no matter what you're doing, art or anything else, you feel the fear and do it anyway. And I kind of think I'd rather be fearful over something really big, like if it comes off, it's going to be really amazing, than be fearful over something really stupid and small. Because the feeling is the same, I've realized,
Yes.
there's no difference. So you might as well get fearful about something that is amazing rather than silly little things that are not going to push you very forward or bring out the best in you.
When you think of all the exhibitions that you've been in, have you had a favorite or a country that you're incredibly proud of yourself for kind of making it or being a part of?
Yes, I'd say Hong Kong. Um, yeah, Hong Kong was just, I don't know, I just found over there, I suppose also the exhibitions I was doing there was held at the Conrad Hotel, so it's a little bit a different way of exhibiting rather than the white walls and all of that you normally see at exhibitions. This is in the hotel itself, and they close off 4 floors, so
Oh,
there's
wow.
all artists and galleries, and so you set your room up as your gallery, so people are
Oh,
coming.
wow.
Yeah, it's a really different format, and I just love that show. It's just because you can showcase your work in a much more cozy environment, I guess. And it's a luxury hotel, so it has that gorgeous feel about it. And I also love that you're with all the other artists. We're all going through the same thing. Everyone's going through the emotional ups and oh, I didn't sell anything, or oh, I've sold, da, 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 da. And so it's just a real family environment as well, and an opportunity to really get together with everyone. You sort of uplift each other and support each other, and it was just total joy doing Hong Kong. They've all been really great, but Hong Kong would be definitely a favorite.
Well, and as much as white walls give you a sense of a blank slate and you really get to enjoy the art, I would think that that environment gives you more of an idea of what it might feel like if it was in your house or in your office space or, at the entrance of your hotel, they get, like you said, a much more cozy, comfortable feeling.
Yes, and I think people can get a more of a sense of you as the artist because I can control things like the music that's playing in my room and things like that. And I sort of really I'm like calming things. So I always sort of had like your Dean Martins and your Frank Sinatras and that kind of easy music playing and stuff like that. And just the way you're able to set your artwork out and things like that, I agree. It makes a big difference.
Well, and you mentioned earlier about the starving artist, and I know that we've all heard that. I heard growing up, oh, you won't make it as a dancer. You'll be a starving dancer. Um, what would you say to that young girl who's 5, or like my daughter's 9, or even that woman who's 30, who's like, no, I've wanted to do this my entire life. I'm done.
Yeah, I think, yeah, just do it. Just do it. And I really drown out those voices because when I look at other people that have been successful, there's an artist that I hugely admire, CJ Hendry. She does hyperrealism. Her work, it looks like a photo, but it looks 3D until you realize it's actually flat on paper.
Oh,
And
wow.
her work now sells for 300,000 US, I mean, that's enormously successful, but I think she was once where I am now.
Mhm.
No, she was once where we all were. Same situation with her. She was studying finance, hated it, got to her last year of it. Her parents were having a heart attack because she told them, oh, I'm quitting university. I'm just going to draw for a year. And they were like, oh my God. And I thought, my parents do, oh my God, like, are you insane?
You're such
Um,
a common thread. We all have those parents who are like, what are you doing?
yes, that's it. That's exactly right, Corey. And I know that it comes from a good place, but yeah, that that willingness to just leap anyway, just leap. And I think that the tendency to see the negative rather than, what if I fail? What if this doesn't work? But what if it does work? What if I am successful and everything that opens up? And I think when you put your eyes to that way and eyes up and eyes forward, are you going to fall over? Of course you will. I think the biggest thing is just get back up. Just get back up, have another go at it, and yeah, I think that's where most people don't make it because when that falling down and then it's just crushed, no, this is too hard. It's never going to work. Oh, you had a go at it. It's fine. Don't worry. Go back to the office or go back to where, like, no, just keep going. Just keep going.
Well, and I was having a conversation with a colleague earlier talking about a lot of us have expertise in lots of different places. I mean, obviously, you went to nursing school. You were very good at, you're very intelligent. You wouldn't have made it through nursing school if you weren't, you have this for what some is an absolutely beautiful career. I've met and worked with incredible nurses. But if it's not your passion and it's not your love, you only have one life. So taking that pivot, even when it's scary, you'll have no regrets either. Even if you fail, God forbid you fail and it doesn't work, you tried. And that's what I hear you most saying right now, that you realize nursing wasn't good for you. So what would you tell that person who's sitting in that place in their life of like, oh, I'm really good at this, but my passion's not in it anymore.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Because yeah, people were saying to me, I can't believe you're giving up nursing, and I was working in charge and all of that sort of thing. And I remember working with a photographer that actually told me off. But I thought, just because you're good at it doesn't mean you have to keep going, and I think life has its chapters, things like this, the seasons, and once it's not fulfilling you and you're not even dragging yourself off to work, but getting to, you know, you wake up in the morning, you think, oh, another day of it, just get through it. And you get to work and it's okay. You don't hate it, but you can't wait to go home and you're looking forward to days off and you hang out for annual leave and all of that sort of thing. And you're right, life is really short. And I just, when I was nursing, I think that gave me the perspective of when you're working with people that are at the end of their life. And I used to look at those patients when they're in that position and think, when I get to that point, I don't want to lie there when there's no more forward physical life because you're at the end of it and think, why didn't I just try? Why didn't I just get back up and have another go at it? I wish I had of this. There's no time now. It's done. You can't go back. And I want to get to the end of my life and think, I'm so ready to die because I'm so tired. I've exhausted all my talents.
Yes,
I
yes.
reckon I'll be going back to
Ready.
non-physical for a while and have a bit of a rest before I come back again.
I love that. It's so true though. I mean, obviously I'm not on my deathbed, but I turned 40 this year. And I even looked at my husband and I thought, arguably, I could be halfway through my life. What have I accomplished so far? Now, granted, you have to get through adolescence and actually become an adult, but I can think back even now and go, I wasted some time. Like, let's catch up, let's do the things that we haven't done because you don't know. It could be tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it, Corey. You're so right. And time really flies. And I think too, I've just seen so many people that are still in a job that they're just slowly killing their soul. And I think it's a lot of time that you have to work, and I think to have purpose and something that you can earn a good living out of. And there's days when I can't wait for the alarm to go off. My partner gets up really early from work, and I'm waiting for his alarm to go off. I think, oh good, now I can get up and I've got all these ideas I want to do. And
Uh-huh.
it's just such a great way to live your life, and I think that speaks to your health and things like that when all of when you're not constantly dealing with low level stress and doing things you don't like, and you're inspired and you've got control of your own time, and makes a big difference, I think.
It does.
Mm.
And I think that there's more of a push for that now. A place where the expectation isn't the typical 9 to 5 or 8 to 6, or, how many people work 12, 13 hours a day. I think there's definitely more of a generational push of, I don't want to do that anymore. Or I don't want to do what my parents did. Even though I am incredibly proud of my parents, I watched them work until they were 68 and 70 years old. And I think they gave up so much of their life that I think arguably they really loved their jobs. Um, but like you said, what can we do? What can we do of purpose that helps us get up every morning? Um, you talked about your breast cancer diagnosis and how that has been kind of a creative and healing force in your life. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's interesting, Corey. I was teaching makeup because I've with the makeup artist, I was freelancing and I was overlaying that with art as well. And well, got a bit crazy, to be honest, because I was running between exhibitions and all that sort of stuff. So I opened my school. I have makeup school. I opened that in 2009. So I sort of dropped off the freelancing and then decided to just go full-time teaching school and art. But when I got the diagnosis, because makeup sort of had its season for me as well, I really had enough. And when that happened, I remember walking back from the appointment where they gave me the diagnosis, and I hadn't told anyone yet what had just happened. And I thought, right, that's it. End of makeup. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. Let's just go full time art. Um, so it was a gift in a lot of ways, the diagnosis, because it really clarified everything, like instantly did it. I feel like it's easy to drag your feet. It's easy to justify things. Oh, just do this. Or, oh, and whereas this, I think coming back to that, geez, if I'm potentially on borrowed time now, what do I want to do with that time? Like, why am I wasting time doing things I don't really want to do anymore? Even though I'm good at it, same thing again, but it's not, it doesn't speak to me anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. And yeah, instantly did that. And I think too also where you spend your time, who you spend your time with, that came into question a bit as well. Yeah, yeah, really sharpened my eyes. Yeah.
Well, and I want to take a minute to honor not only that decision, but just remind our audience that you can have a lot of pivots in your life. You may at one point, and I'm sure you were, very, very passionate about nursing and very passionate about your makeup artistry business and your education and school. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. It can be a both and. And just hearing you kind of give our audience that permission of it can be a chapter and you can turn the page and move on to something different. You haven't failed, but you've honored yourself.
100%. Yep, definitely, definitely. And I think too, you don't know what's within you. I feel like we're kind of born into these bodies with all this talent and potential that you don't know about until you start trying it out. And there's been times where I think, oh God, I would never have thought I could do that. Or um yeah, and I think to get tied down, as I've gotten older, I'm 55 now, and I think as I've gotten older, I can see that the person I was at 21 compared to 30, compared to 40, 45, 50, whatever, I'm not that person anymore. And I think you're right. Like, give yourself permission to, yes, that was that. I've done what I wanted to there. But okay, what else? What else? What next? You
Right.
know, Yeah, and I think you're right. I think I can see the world is shifting. I think too, since the pandemic, when people had a lot of time off, and a lot of people gave them time to think about what I'm really doing. When we couldn't go out and we couldn't go to work and things like that. And I know a lot of people started to think, what is it I want to do with my life going forward? And yeah, and I think just you'd be so sorry if you didn't, because you just don't know what's around the corner. And even if you think of somebody like J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter,
Hmm.
single mom, just working in an office job, like everyone, trying to make ends meet, and had an idea. That's all it was. Harry Potter was just an idea. Gets knocked back by, I don't know, the 12 publishers minimum.
Hmm.
She would never, in her wildest imagination, believed what her life would have become and where Harry Potter, this little idea that she had, where that would have got to. And I think, imagine if she just went, oh, all right, look, I won't worry about it. And I can
Hmm.
imagine people, friends around her probably said, oh, look, Joanne, don't worry about it, just write because you feel like it or whatever. And, look where she got to. And I think
Oh,
of
yeah.
people like that. And I just think you just don't know. You don't know what's within you, do you?
Well, and before this episode, I was looking through your art. So I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about your art and your passions behind it, and obviously where people can find you as well.
Yes, so my art is, I suppose, very feminine art, very botanical, lots of flowers, and I love because flowers sort of represent a lot, there's a lot of symbolic. You can speak a lot of volumes with the flowers, and it's interesting. I did a giveaway recently because I've just had a release. I'm releasing 4-day windows only. So instead of having all of my artwork available and prints and things like that, it's just a 4-day window. And with my giveaway, I was asking people what was their favorite flower, and it was interesting. I got so many responses and why they loved, what those flowers meant to them, whether it was a memory of my grandmother or, I went through these really hard times. I love sunflowers because they always face the sun and things like that. And I really, really love that symbolism. And so I would say my art is sort of very, yeah, very floral, very feminine. And I like to tell the stories through the flowers and things like that. And I do a little hidden key in there because I like the idea of that unlocking your potential, just as what we were talking to. So I do a little hidden key for people to find. But yeah, no, I'm on Instagram, Joanna Blair Artist, and my website is joannablairartist.com. And my newsletter subscribers have early access to everything that I do. Because after I do a release, none of those prints, and if there's any paintings, there usually isn't, but if there is, nothing's released again out of that series. So
Wow.
yeah.
It was really beautiful looking at your website because though I don't paint, I love to garden. So seeing all the beautiful flowers on a canvas or and forgive me, I don't know all the art terms, but presented in such a way, it was like stepping into what I want my garden to look like one day.
Oh, Corey, that's so lovely to hear. And I'm an avid gardener as well. I love gardening too. Absolutely.
Well, I want to be really respectful of your time. And I've loved our whole conversation today. If there was one kind of ending thought or anything that we haven't talked about, is there anything else you would like to just share with the audience before we end today?
Yes, I would say just if you have any little voice in the back of your mind thinking, oh, I'd really love to do this, that, or the other, just do it. Just do it. Don't worry about it. If you fall over, it doesn't matter. You've done it. But even if you fall over, get back up, have another go at it. Go at it another angle. But yeah, don't leave anything on the table, I would say.
Love that. Don't leave anything on the table. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, my pleasure, Corey. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. As we close out today's episode, I want to leave you with this. Your next level is already within you. If you're feeling that pull for more clarity, more alignment, and more courage to step fully into who you're meant to be, this is your invitation to take the next step. Whether you're an entrepreneur ready to scale or a woman standing at the edge of something bigger, the path forward starts with trusting your desires, owning your worth, and leading with your inner knowing. This is exactly what I offer: private VIP coaching, and where I guide women inside the 10K Club and 50K Club through consulting with She Sells and Superhuman Selling to help you gain clarity, step into aligned action, and build a life and business that reflects your highest vision. If you're ready to explore what's next, let's have a conversation. Book a free call now at www.corywinn.com/free call. I can't wait to connect with you. Talk soon.